From Atlanta to the world, a view like no other, the Christian View. Your host, Dr. Trudy Simmons, with co-hosts Aisha Smith-Dancy, Sandra O'Neill, Dr. Lee Adams, Trudy Davies-Davis, Monica Matthews, Isaac Hernandez, and Caitlin Bryan. Empowering and inspiring, the Christian View.
Welcome to the Christian View. What a great audience we have. To put the phones down.
Sorry,
put the phones down.
Gotta go.
Put the phones down. What a great audience we have today. Sorry about that. Sorry about the phones. But it is today. We're talking about the age of handheld devices. How many have one? Or two or three in your household? Let's put them down now. I'm just kidding. But kidding aside, the headlines have been overloaded with article after article, and here's a couple of them. Is the phone powering down your relationship? Are gadget-free bedrooms the secret to a happy marriage? Parents wired for distraction. 10 reasons, and there was at least 10 reason articles why teenagers should not have handheld devices or phones. And then the last one I thought was really funny is get off the device, get outside, and get out of your head. Yeah. But there's no doubt, really, that technology and handheld devices are prevalent in society. So I want to talk a little bit about the effects, Trudy, that these handheld devices are having in our families and our relationships and even with our health.
Yes. Well, I think obviously the effects are very many, but three that really stick out to me is, well, one is the obvious lack of relationship building and hiding behind like a false sense of community, which also isolates us and which causes depression and a lot of other things. But something else that we may not think about is this, it's a phenomenon called switching. And what happens is when we are trying to focus on a project that's very important, task-oriented, and we switch back and forth to our phone, it overloads our brain and increases our stress and anxiety.
Really?
Yes,
I
and
haven't
actually,
heard of that.
Statistics prove. I know, and it's actually called switching.
Okay.
And
you can find that on your phone.
Oh,
that's right. Look it up.
Let me look it up real quick. Yeah.
But it takes a toll on productivity. So you can imagine in the workforce, you know, not only for ourselves, but if you have employees, that it really impacts that. And also, I think the decrease in accountability.
Yes.
Because when we have anonymity behind our phones, we act out in ways that we would not do if it were in person. So, and you know, I think that in the long run, it just gives us an opportunity to be more self-controlled. If we think about it like the positive spin, be more self-controlled and just more self-disciplined. I think about the verse in Proverbs where it says, without self-control, a man is like a city that has been broken into and is without walls. Right. And boundaries.
Right, and tossed to and fro for lack of boundaries. Yeah, but it also has lack of sleep because how many of you, and don't answer, check your phone before you go to bed and as soon as you get up. You know, that's the first things that we go to is our phone. And they do say statistically now that we need to keep our phones and keep them out of the bedroom. It should be as far away from us as we can because it is what we do first thing in the morning. But then it causes addictions. You know, you're addicted to your phone, you're addicted to the scrolling, you're addicted to Facebook or anything on social media. And then for younger kids, it causes overweight. It causes weight gain because they are constantly on their phones.
Right. Well, and it not only does it cause overweight on kids, but it also, at that point of a stage, a 3-year-old, 4-year-old, 5-year-old, those are the times that you're actually growing them. You're training a child. And if they're going straight to their devices, I think there's also studies, my husband's a pediatrician, was telling me that the brain is actually not growing. The creativity of a child is decreasing as they go to school. Teachers can tell who has been on a tablet or on their iPhone as a babysitting aspect or who has it. Children are there to grow and to be creative, and so are we adults, right?
Oh, I was looking up statistics, and it says 62%. They did this study, and they only asked the women. It was only they didn't ask the men. They asked the women, Isaac. So you can chime in. 62% of the women that they surveyed said technology is interfering with their leisure time. 40% said their partner gets distracted by their phone. So I don't know if you have your message, like if you get a message and it pops up, ding, 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 do you have your ringer turned off or turned on because they're in the middle of a conversation, all of a sudden, oh, wait.
It's like Pavlov's dog, right?
Right, and then well, where was I? You know, texting instead of face-to-face conversation. And how many times have y'all been at a restaurant, two people sitting there, and they're both on their phones? There's no communication. It's just,
You guys been following me or what?
We were following you the other day, yes. But that's how the normal family is functioning right now.
And I think about the author of The Sacred Rest, Dr. Sandra, and she talks about how one of the ways that people are not being healthy in today's society, these stress-related disorders, are because of the cell phone. We have what's called sensory overload.
Right.
We're constantly, our sensories are going off and off, and it's actually messing up with our rest. And when children especially don't get the rest they need, and when we don't get the rest we need, it really puts a damper on our health. It
does.
impacts us. Yeah.
I see it in my 13-year-old son. If I don't turn his machine off at a certain time, he's done. Yeah.
You know, and there's also something called tech neck, which is really a very interesting, another phenomenon where it's from the position of your neck and shoulders looking down, and chiropractors and orthopedic surgeons are really making a fortune off of this tech neck phenomenon.
Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? Stay with us. We'll be right back with more about stay with us, handheld devices. We'll be right back. View. We're having a great discussion on the age of handheld devices, and we've talked a little bit about the negatives and the health risks that they cause, but let's talk a little bit about the positives, Caitlin, because we know with every negative there is a positive, and we can make good out of bad. So let's talk about the positives.
Yes, absolutely. So there definitely are some great positives with handheld devices. I first of all think about the safety. I remember driving. I cannot imagine not having my cell phone.
Right.
I had this conversation with my mom and dad the other day. Wait, you drove without your cell phone? What a concept.
Right.
So I think that the benefit of having that handheld device and we're able to communicate. Another benefit I think is connection.
Yes.
So a lot of times I know that social media, a lot of people say it's negative, but I love that I can keep up with people I went to school with.
Right.
And even now being a pastor's wife and being connected to so many places, I'm like, I've seen you.
Yes.
How are you doing? How's your daughter's dance recital? Or how's this going on? So I love that connection. And then the last thing that I love is the positivity you can spread.
Yes.
On my page, Coach Caitlin, I do a lot of motivational videos. And you know, sometimes you don't think anybody sees those, but I hear a lot of people come up to me and they'll say, you know, that word helped me throughout today, or it helped me get through this. And so the ability to encourage people right from your home.
Yes.
You know, you used to can only do that through the television screens or
The snail mail.
Exactly,
Yes,
the snail mail.
yes,
But now
yes.
you can pop up there if God's speaking something to you, and you can encourage other people. And I love that about our handheld devices.
You also
Definitely.
mentioned something about kids not having cell phones.
Yes.
But on the positive side, that's a way for kids nowadays to be able to communicate if there's an issue. I mean,
Yes.
we've been in situations where they've called us, you know, Grandpa, they're closing down the school because of something or other, you know, and so we're able to know we need to go pick them up. Where if they didn't have that, we would not be able to know that.
Right, I gave my son a phone when he was 10, which is kind of young, but I was traveling a 5-hour commute back and forth to school, and I said, you know, he's going to need his phone just in case. And there was no games on it yet or anything, but it's the safety of he can get to me and I can get to him in a moment's notice if we need to.
Safety is a great thing. For a mother with a young child who's 7 years old,
Yes.
I really have been struggling to figure out when is it appropriate to give not only a phone, but I'm talking about a smartphone. You open up this phone and the whole entire world is at your hand. So the responsibility is very heavy for a young child.
Yes.
So the maturity level, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Where in the maturity level is it appropriate to hand a smartphone to a child?
And for each child
now,
is different.
I'm
right?
going back to a flip phone. My daughter can call me anytime.
Yes.
But, you know, for her to have accessibility through a smartphone, that's a little too much for me to grasp right now.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And I think another benefit that we've all experienced on the Christian View and in our own careers is the ability to market yourself and the ability to get, like you were saying, the word out about what you do. And, you know, there's so many positives, and it just really does come back to the boundaries and the self-control. And just guiding ourselves and you know, with our children, we have to be their guide. For sure. And I was going to say that one benefit is it will help you parent your children. God helps you so much. So when my son was still in high school, we were out of town and he was supposed to be staying at a friend, and he texted me and said, you know, I'm just going to run home and get something. So, you know, okay. So then miraculously his phone pocket dialed me, and I could hear he and his girlfriend
Oh.
talking inside our house. So from his pocket, I'm calling his name over and over and over again, and he finally picks it up. He's like, Mom? And so, needless to say, he was grounded, had to go stay with his aunt for the vacation. But, so that's a definite
yes,
positive.
lots of good come from phones.
Yeah,
lots of good comes from phones.
And the benefit, too, is the fact that when you are, as a young parent, if you have a young child, a 6-month-old or a baby, and you're trying to research things, I mean, it's amazing to have that availability.
Yes.
Instead of, I know, we used to open up that laptop and load it all, but you've got it on your phone
You have it
now,
on
and
your phone now.
I think
You
about
do.
what Trudy said. It really does help you monitor your kids. I can't tell you the number of times I've told my parents, this is where I'm going, and they're like, FaceTime me when you get there.
When you get there.
So I'm like, man.
But there's a tracker on your phone too. I do a lot of Ironman, so I'm out on the road biking, 100 miles an hour, 100 miles a day, and I'll call Brian. He goes, I know exactly where you are. He can track me, which makes me feel safe that he knows I'm at a such and such a place, and if I needed help, or this is the last place that. He picked up my signal, so it is safety. But then another thing, it helps you stay organized, right?
Yeah.
I mean, how many of us have our calendars on our phones, our itinerary on our phone, instead of flipping through the pages of a calendar.
And we were using it as a mirror a little while ago. That was kind of exciting.
There's a lot
and for us old guys, it helps us to know where we park.
But can you see
We
it?
just take a picture of where we park. It's great.
Can you see it though?
Well, usually they have signs at the parking
I'm
areas.
kidding.
Oh, can I see it?
Because the screen's so small. I'm kidding.
And I think too, one thing that I love about handheld devices is that you can capture moments.
Yes.
That you otherwise wouldn't. Normally you had to bring out the camera or the camcorder and all those things. But now you can, this is such a great moment. Let's take a picture, and you have those memories.
Right. And go ahead. No.
Well, it is that double-edged sword, though. So many times, I remember this classic picture where all the younger people, and that would include all of us, had their phones out. It was some great Olympic thing, and the elderly woman was standing there just enjoying the moment.
Yeah.
And it was it spoke volumes.
Yes, I have heard that. Enjoy the moment and not snap the picture. Yes.
I think that's one of the things, and I know we're talking about the benefits of a phone, but really when we can just put it down and the benefit of self-control to say, at this moment, I don't want to capture.
Right.
I want to take it all in. And as I start growing my daughter and see her children as well, can I tell you, they don't want anything captured. This new generation, they're like, please stop taking a picture. Because yes, I have been that mom who has captured every single moment. She does. I don't even need to capture. But she's our answer to prayer after fighting infertility for 13 years. So, but I see this next generation in her saying, I don't want a cell phone. I don't take my picture. I'm good. There's actually a study that's saying that this generation is looking at their parents as, I want your attention. Please stop looking at your phone. I'm here. So it becomes...
Well, that's what we're going to talk about that in the next segment, about putting our phones down. But it is true. You see families, like we talked about earlier, sitting in restaurants.
I want your
attention, but we're too busy. This is more important, which it's really not.
I'm feeling very convicted right now about all this, because I am that guy that's very addicted to this thing. I mean, even while I'm watching TV, what am I doing during commercials?
What's the latest and the greatest on the scroll?
Yeah, and it sits. I don't put my phone away. It sits on my nightstand.
It's part of your hand, like this.
It's pretty much part of my hand. It sits there, and you know what? I leave it on, so that means that sometimes I get texts or messages at 3 in the morning.
3 in the morning. And then it wakes you up, wakes you out of your deep sleep.
It wakes my
Real
wife
quick,
up.
so
I stay asleep.
what do you think about having the Bible on your cell phone? Yay or nay? Bible on cell phone.
Thumbs up for that.
For it.
Why not?
I mean, I do love holding the Bible, but I love that I can go to it really quick. But Stay with us. We'll be right back with more here on The Christian View. Welcome back. We're having a great discussion about the age of handheld devices, and I'm sure you at home probably have one, if not more than one of your handheld devices with you right now, so put them down. No, I'm just kidding. We're going to talk a little bit, Sandra, just about screen time and how to limit screen time. You get on your phone, I don't know if y'all do, but I get a message once a week how much screen time you've used, and how, some days, some weeks it's great, and some weeks I'm like, wait a minute, I need to put it down. So let's just talk practical. How does your family limit screen time?
So about 3-4 years ago, my husband and I made a conscious decision to make our home a tech-wise family home, which means, you have your stove, you have your TV, you have your toaster, you have things. But when we get home, we're not a TV culture. Unfortunately, we don't turn it on right away.
Exactly.
And initially, we were getting to that point that we were turning on TV, we were getting on our cell phones, and we weren't doing anything. So we have really practiced the point as when we go inside the house, the phone stays in the mudroom. We're present, we're very present, and we really just curtail that time because we want to model that for our daughter. We were extremely convicted because I kept saying, I'm not going to let Eliana have a phone, it's going to be fine. And I was like, wow, Lord, you really have convicted me to know that this is more than a phone. It's a computer. And we've actually changed our terminology. So when I say I'm going to grab my iPhone or my telephone, I say, I'm going to grab my computer because I have to do research to find this versus let me grab my phone. The reason being, my daughter now says, Mom, when am I going to get a phone? Well, this is more than just a phone. And the other thing we're doing, y'all, we are getting a landline. We are getting a landline because I will tell you, because she sees this is our home phone number. This is not mommy's phone. Daddy doesn't have a phone. This is our family phone. So we're kind of taking it back. Those are 2 steps that we've really taken that we're excited about. Dinner table. Nothing. Nothing. And I'm getting to the point that I don't reply text messages right away.
Oh my gosh. Are you being defriended?
I know. I said, guys, on my phone, setting those boundaries. My phone was in the mudroom right now.
Yeah, I think that's great. Brian brought us a Christmas present. He's like, I got you guys a family Christmas present. We were really excited. And it was a phone dock. And so we come home from the day, we put our phone on the phone dock, and that's where it stays most days. We never have it at the table. It's never at our dinner table. We don't take it into the bedroom anymore. But for a while we did. And Jonathan came into the kitchen one day. He's 13. He's like, Mom, Dad. And we're doing this. He's like, Mom, Dad. And we're like, wait just a minute. And that's when we got convicted. Because we're like, you know what? He needs our undivided attention when we're at home. Because what if it's really something, everything he says is important, but what if it's really, really important? Like my friend's parents are getting divorced and he's really upset. Things like that. We have to be mindful and present in our homes.
We're missing the opportunities to parent because that split second of a relationship that may have happened, you may have missed an eye contact, a feeling, an emotion that you've said, oh honey, how can we talk about this?
And there are settings on the phone. I love my do not disturb button that I put on. I put it on at night, and I always think we don't have a landline, so I'm like emergency. So my mom and my dad could get through if there was an emergency. But that's so powerful to be like, okay, at this time I turn on do not disturb, and then this is the time in the morning, setting those time limits. And then also, I think about my parents. I've been really convicted too. They do not have their phones in the bedroom. They have them in the kitchen and they plug it in. I don't know what'll happen if we need to contact them, but it's out of there. And that really makes an impact to say, I'm not talking right now, I'm disconnecting. And my dad has watched his Fitbit that he sleeps with. It has helped his sleep be better over and over again because his phone's outside.
And I think we really need to talk to the issue of depression with the younger generation with what is actually social media, but it comes through their phone. I recently had the opportunity to interview Miss Tennessee, Miss Teen Tennessee, and several of her other pageant title holders, and they all said they experienced, now these are accomplished, obviously attractive women, young women, and they say they experienced depression and anxiety from so much social media. And I was so proud of them. They determined between themselves that they were going to take a break from social media. So it definitely impacts it. And during this interview that I had with them, so many of them said that depression in their age group was huge and debilitating to the point of medication. So much caused from, and they definitely cited Instagram as one of the main sources of that. So, that's just, if you don't limit that.
Yep.
You know, what's next?
Right, exactly. And there is bullying on social media for our younger generation, but God created us for community.
Yes.
He didn't create us, like you said earlier, to have our necks down and hunched over,
Yes.
you know, looking down. He created us either to look up or to look at each other for community and for building and for mentoring each other. And we can't do that if we don't put our phones down.
You know what verse comes to my mind is it says, "For everything in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life comes not from the Father, but from the world." And I think that's what all the social media kind of it feeds that.
Right.
The lust of, oh, I'm either not enough or I am better or I'm going to, you know, attack this person for whatever.
Right.
And it's not from God, even though I think there's a great benefit to cell phones.
Exactly.
But
I think
it's
there is, but
keeping that perspective.
And in those boundaries, I think, and self-control, which we've talked about a little bit. But I mean, people do put their best on Facebook, put their best on Instagram, and we do have to monitor. Like Jonathan's 13 now, and he has certain programs he's allowed to use, so I monitor those when he's on them. And he's like, "Mom," I'm like, "You can be upset with me, you can be mad at me, but I'm going to monitor what you're watching."
One of the things that I think about is the home is a safe. That's where your children feel safe. So when you're bringing in a cell phone with billions of people in there, or social media, so if my daughter comes in and she's had a horrible day at school, she can close the door and she has that unconditional love of her family, versus she comes in with her social media and the same problem that she had at home, at school or wherever is now here at the home because of this cell phone. So I really want to protect, I want to guide her, especially in these nurturing times. And I think cell phones are great, they're beneficial, but they need to be taken in doses.
Yes, I agree. And I do think we need to protect the home, and we need to take the home back.
Yes.
And we need to bring the home back to what it was intended to be.
That's one piece of advice I give every new parent who's just about to give their child a cell phone is set the precedent to take it away at night.
Anytime.
Yes.
Because nothing's
Not allowed in your
happens after
bedroom.
midnight.
Not allowed
Nothing could happen.
Not allowed in your room. Yeah.
Take their electronic devices away and you start that early. That is the best protection.
Consistency is the key.
Yes. Early precedent.
So they know what to expect.
Yes. Going forward.
They're not blindsided.
My
Definitely.
husband's parents did that. They took all their phones, and that made all the difference. He said, "I'm thankful."
And he's a preacher now.
Exactly.
It works.
Stay with us. We'll be right back here at the Christian View. Welcome back to the Christian View. We've had a great discussion on the age of handheld devices and setting boundaries that work best for your household, and pray and seek the Lord for advice. You know, I want you to check out these amazing co-hosts, Trudy Davis, Isaac from California, Sandra, and Caitlin. They are doing amazing things for the kingdom. Stay connected. Take care. And remember, God loves you. Have a great day.